Caviar is without a doubt one of the definitive symbols of status and wealth in the modern world. We are talking about one of the most expensive foods on the planet, a shimmering black delicacy that sells for up to $35,000 a kilo. There is even an ultra-exclusive variety called almas, harvested from extremely rare albino sturgeons in Iran, which is sold in tins plated with 24-karat gold. It is revered by aristocrats and served with mother-of-pearl spoons to prevent common metal from altering the taste, in the most exclusive hotels in Paris, Dubai, and New York. But let's be honest, for many, it is an acquired taste. That salty, oceanic burst in the mouth isn't for everyone's palate, but the price, well, the price grabs anyone's attention. But history wasn't always this way. Believe it or not, caviar wasn't always this unreachable black gold. There was a time when it was considered poor man's food, soldiers' rations, or worse, an unwanted byproduct. In the 19th century, the abundance of sturgeon in United States rivers was so great that caviar was treated with disdain. In the Hudson River, sturgeon was so common it earned the nickname Albany beef, serving as cheap protein for the working class. Historical accounts confirm that in American bars and saloons, caviar was offered to customers for free. The strategy was simple and cunning. Because it was extremely salty, the free caviar made customers thirstier, and consequently, they bought more beer and whiskey. In Europe, the situation wasn't much different. Fishermen who caught sturgeon often removed the meat for sale and threw the roe away. In many cases, it served as feed for pigs or was left on the beach to rot in the sun. So, what changed to transform pig food into the height of global luxury? The answer lies in scarcity, biology, and a radical shift in perception. Authentic caviar doesn't come from just any fish. Salmon or trout roe, those orange ones we see on sushi, are not real caviar. By gastronomic law, it has to be salt-cured sturgeon roe. There are 27 species of sturgeon scattered around the world. We are talking about a prehistoric fish, a true living fossil, covered in bony plates instead of scales, that has swum in our rivers since the time of the dinosaurs. But ironically, it might not survive humanity. Among these species, 3 have historically defined the luxury market in the Caspian Sea: the beluga, the largest of all, with large buttery eggs, the osetra, with a nutty flavor, and the sevruga, smaller, but with an intense taste. If you're enjoying this content, subscribe to the channel. This signals to YouTube that this content is worth it and helps us bring you more stories about the cost of things. Unfortunately, the forecast for the sturgeon is grim. The species is heading toward extinction because humans, in their unbridled quest for profit, overfished populations and destroyed their habitats. The collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991 was the final blow. Without strict border controls on the Caspian Sea, illegal fishing exploded, decimating 90% of the population in 2 decades. In 2010, the International Union for Conservation of Nature placed 18 sturgeon species on its red list. This officially makes the sturgeon the most threatened group of species on Earth, more in danger than tigers or pandas. These lists generated vital laws. Today, it is strictly illegal to fish for wild sturgeon or import their roe without rigorous certifications. On the other hand, the ban creates a perverse side effect: the rarity value thesis. The perception of scarcity increases the value of an item, even if the flavor doesn't change. Caviar is the same as it was 100 years ago, but the fact that it is nearly impossible to get in the wild has transformed it into a treasure. To understand the scale, look at the animal. The sturgeon is a giant. The world record belongs to a female beluga sturgeon caught in 1924, which weighed a staggering 140 kilograms and yielded 400 kilograms of roe. If that fish were caught today, just its eggs would be worth about $500,000. It was only around the turn of the 20th century that the perfect storm formed. Industrial pollution and dams blocked migration routes. Furthermore, biology plays against it. The sturgeon is a long-term investment. It takes 8 to 20 years for a female to sexually mature. In nature, statistically, out of millions of eggs, only a single egg will survive to adulthood. The population simply couldn't keep up with the voracious demand. If this content is being useful to you, subscribe to the channel. It's a simple click that really helps us continue researching these complex topics. Today, the market is a minefield of bureaucracy. Trading wild caviar illegally is, in legal and ethical terms, comparable to selling ivory. That is why the vast majority of caviar legally consumed in the world comes from aquaculture. The production process justifies part of the cost. Each egg is treated like a diamond. The most valued technique is molosol, a Russian term for little salt. This preserves the pure flavor, but drastically reduces the product's shelf life, making refrigerated transport logistics extremely expensive. The production landscape has changed drastically. In 2004, there were few commercial farms. Today, there are over 2,000. And the new king of caviar isn't Russia nor Iran, it's China. One farm in particular, called Beluga Queen, dominates the market. Alone, it produces about 35% of all the world's caviar. And don't think it's an inferior product. In recent blind taste tests organized by renowned chefs, Chinese caviar often beats traditional French brands. If you eat caviar at a Michelin-starred restaurant in London or New York, there are high chances it came from a lake in China. The traditional method, used by both Russians and Chinese, is still controversial. It involves killing the fish to extract the entire ovaries before the eggs are too mature. It is the sacrifice of an animal that took 10 years to grow for a single harvest. This led to the rise of alternative techniques, such as stripping or milking. The theory is beautiful. Fish are induced to release eggs without dying, allowing them to produce caviar multiple times throughout their lives. It seems like the perfect solution, ethical, sustainable, and profitable. But there is a gastronomic problem there. If you like this content, subscribe to the channel. That way you won't miss the next videos about the behind the scenes of the luxury industry. The big issue preventing stripping from dominating the market is quality. In the traditional method, with slaughter, the eggs are harvested before they are ready to be laid. They have a firm membrane, which gives that characteristic pop in the mouth, the crunchy texture that connoisseurs love. In the stripping method, for the egg to come out with massage, it needs to be biologically mature. In this phase, the membrane naturally softens to allow for fertilization. The result is a mushier, pasty caviar, which often needs chemical treatments to firm up again, altering the flavor. For purists paying fortunes, this is unacceptable. In any case, the rise of established caviar farms has brought an undeniable benefit. It reduced the pressure on nature. This gives the wild sturgeon population a chance, perhaps the last one, to recover. For now, caviar remains a reminder that, in the human economy, what is rare is expensive, and what is forbidden is even more desired.